Welcome back to the Aussie Shed, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode in the 20-ton hydraulic press rebuild. So what I'll be focusing on in this episode is making a few bits and pieces for the press on the modified mini lathe. And the first thing that we're going to attempt to make is an adapter which will go from the press pin holder that we have here. It takes all the press pins that I showed you in a previous episode and adapts it to the end of the air over hydraulic 20-ton inverted jack. And what I'm using for that, folks, is just this bit of round steel that I have here. It's just some mild steel. Unsure of what sort of grade in mild steel it is, but that's what we're going to be doing, folks. We're going to be making a way to adapt this to this and then this to this. That's the first project anyway.
I would like you to listen.
So that's our piece that we've been making up on the lathe, folks. That's the sort of basis for our adapter. It's almost finished. Turned out not too bad, I guess. So as you can see, this is the press pin adapter, and it just goes onto there. So it just sort of, it's about 1/2 mil shy in there, and it's designed to sit on the shoulder here. And there'll just be a hole drilled through the side with a grub screw that goes into this sort of recess in the top there, a bit of a collar. So that's how that's attached to that section, like so. And then this recess that's in here, that's the equivalent size to this piece on the jack, the sort of wind out extender. And how we fix that in position, slide it over the top, and then there'll be a piece that goes in around here and then sort of drops in. So it'll be a piece with the diameter of the outside of this hole, and the inside diameter of it, it'll be like a piece of tube, will be the same size as that, and then it'll be cut in half. So we put that on, drop the 2 pieces in from either side, then put a grub screw through either side, and that'll keep it sort of square and stop it sort of cocking on the bottom if this bottom here isn't sort of perfectly straight. And then this piece here goes into it, and then you wind this back up until it seats up against the ram there. So yeah, it's not too bad. So realistically, the floor of this fitting, the floor of this adapter, is only, I think it's about 8mm thick, maybe 5mm thick. Anyway, so the floor, so that's really all we've gained from there to there, is about 8mm or so from memory. So even though it looks kind of big, you know, we've sort of kept the bare minimum that we need between these 2 surfaces to make it all sort of work. So we'll get into that piece next, eh? So this is a piece we're just making up, folks, and you can see how it just kind of drops into this this piece that I made earlier. Now what that's going to do, hopefully, is retain this piece onto the end of the press. So you can see when that goes in there, this collar that we've made here gets cut in half. Like, we'll slit it on both sides to make it into 2 pieces. So then we can just drop the halves down in through the sides, and then we'll just put a grub screw through the middle of each one just to keep pressure on it against this section. That'll hold it in position there. That's my plan anyway, folks. Hopefully it'll work. We'll see. I'll go and cut this in half. And here they are, folks. I just cut them in half. So that's our ring from before. Just cut in half. Just did it with a handheld grinder. So hopefully it's going to work. So these guys will go in like that, sit on there, and then that will go up over the top. Just like that, folks. When we put a grub screw through the side of each one of these, it'll push this collar hard against the threaded section and keep it together. And basically that's what we'll end up with, and then we can just wind this up back up to the jack, so that sits hard up against the top of the ram there, and then that's ready to receive our adapter piece to take the press pins. Obviously we've still got to put a hole through this with a grub screw to hold that in as well, but seems to be working out okay, folks. I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, onward. Okay, I'm back. So I've been doing a bit of drilling and tapping, folks. I've got an M4 hole tapped in there and an M4 hole tapped in there, and down the bottom here I've got an M6 hole. Now the M6 hole, that's to retain this guy, because I figure I only need the one, and it's a little bit further out. I need quite a longer grub screw to reach the fitting in there. So that's the guy that I'm going to be using there, and a couple of shorties because we've got two of them, and it's really not going to take much effort to hold this in on the top. So I might start putting this together and see what happens, and hopefully I haven't buggered it up. Alrighty. First, the press pin adapter. Oh, that was pretty painless. There we go, folks. Press pin adapter. Grub screw. Nice and tight. No worries at all. Now, the adapter to fit it up to the 20-ton jack. The right screws? Yep. Look like they're going to be a little bit long, these guys, but I'm sure we can live with that. Alright, let's go over to the press and see how it fits up. Alright, so here's our plates sitting in there, how we kind of left them. Now we should be able to just slide this guy straight up over the top. Like that. And that should be it, folks. We should be able to just snug these up and it's all over Red Rover. Looking pretty good. Well, that seems to be it, folks. Just wind that sucker up. And that's it. That's looking pretty good, folks. Not bad at all. So for those quick adjustments, before doing anything, you could just wind this guy down to where you want before you're starting with your jacking. She's a bit loose, the thread in the top there, but that's alright, it's got plenty of surface area. And sort of give yourself all that. Whether or not you'll need it for a particular job, who knows? So that's all sitting there with our adapters. And now it's just a matter of doing that every time we want to press something, folks. Just friggin' swap them out. Very nice. Very convenient. The big one. Must admit, folks, I'm pretty happy how that's turned out. Alright, so what do we move on to next? Let me see. So I think the next little trinket that we have to make for the new press is a knob to lock and release the pressure for the jack. Because let's face it, guys, like most of the time the jack handle is going to be stored, we're going to be using the air pump on it. So we don't want to be pulling that off every time we need to open and close the valve on there. So I've just got a little piece of aluminium, I don't know, probably 6061 or something, 50 mil, So out of that, I'm going to make a new knob that I can just turn. Obviously it'll be quite a bit smaller than this when it's finished, but I'll make a new knob for there so we don't need to use the stick or anything on there. So I might throw this on the mini lathe and get started on it. Time has come, folks. I figure we've known each other long enough now, so I'd like to show you me knob. And there it is, folks, almost fresh off the mini lathe. I just had to do a couple of things off camera. One of them was cut this slot here. I don't have a 4mm end mill, which is what size it needs to be. So I actually did this on my bandsaw. And I figured it was a bit too friggin' scary to be putting on YouTube because there was a good chance of there being blood. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to show that because I'll probably be chastised by the WorkSafe Brigade as well. But you'll be glad to know, folks, there was no blood. And it sort of worked out reasonably well. It's a bit ugly and a bit crap, but you don't see it when the thing's in position. And I drilled and tapped a couple of 4mm holes just for some grub screws, just so that it locks onto the sort of little T-handle on the whatsy there. So there it is, folks. I hope you like it. And I might even attach it to the press. There it is, folks. So now instead of needing to grab the jack handle to open and close the valve, I can just grab me knob. Very happy with that. I think that turned out quite well. Gives you quite a lot of leverage. The knurling's quite good. It's quite grippy. Certainly as good as using the jack handle. Pretty happy with that. Right, folks, I think we're going to have to leave this video there. It's not every day I come out with a knob joke on YouTube, and this may or may not make the editing cut. I don't know. If you see it, it did. If you don't see it, well, you'll never know it existed. So anyway, folks, thanks for stopping by the Aussie Shed. I hope you like how the press is progressing so far with everything. I'm pretty happy with it all. So if you like how this is all going, remember to come back for the next video. There's more stuff going on. And I guess you'll see what that is when you come back. Righto, folks. Cheers.